it's not going to get Carlton anywhere once it comes to the final series. It's so predictable. People are going to put bodies and bodies ahead of Curnow and Mackay if they look to do this in games later in the year. And it only took Collingwood a half to figure it out in a regular home and away season. So imagine how much difficult the task will be for them in the final series in 2024. Should it be any surprise to you that Collingwood will win another close game against an arch rival in Carlton by 6 points on Friday night at the G? Probably not, but I'm here to show you key moments in the game that made up the massive blockbuster game that it was. It was a finals-like intensity game, and it was a high stoppage game, which is pretty much the makeup of what a finals game would actually look like. So it was good to see Collingwood being able to hold up in many scenarios throughout the course of this game. The other thing that Collingwood did well in was our defensive half transition. We scored 40 points for the game, and Carlton conversely probably lacked a bit of that transition, particularly in that second half, slowing down completely. These are moments that I'm talking about early in the game that set up the mood for the game. So just keep an eye on Nick Dacos. He's going to pick this up, but he's going to pull his kick in the last second. So he's got the ball here, could go long, and then pulls here and finds something short that initiates that defensive half transition that Collingwood thrive on. Bohm gets out wide. Maybe instead of going forward here where he ends up going to a 2-on-1 to Billy Elliott on Wiedering and co, maybe just turn around and start again and give an opportunity for our forwards here, which I'll point out too. Allow these forwards to get ahead of the ball and provide a leading option. Instead, he goes to Billy Elliott on arguably the best defender in the league, Jacob Wiedering. There's a massive conversation around protection of the head, but there's not a lot of people talking about how to protect your head in situations that you can avoid. Darcy Moore really does extremely well to protect his body in that aerial contest with Charlie Curnow. I'll bring this back. What I love about Darcy's approach in this aerial contest is he leads up with his left leg to protect his body, his open side, whether it be his head or his ribs in this predicament. He puts his leg up, protects himself from that, and he's running side on as opposed to going back with the flight. Going back with the flight, you leave yourself completely open, you don't know what's coming, whereas if you turn your body like Darcy Moore has, you end up getting good protection, and this is the outcome rather than something far, far worse. He even does so well to actually compete for that aerial contest and bring it to ground. We have a centre bounce score here from Carlton. Could Markov just take this in rather than tapping it into the corridor, trying to spoil it into the corridor? Maybe take that in, swallow it up and earn the stoppage and restructure from there. I think this ends up leading to a goal instead. Yeah, I think always gets out and kicks that. This certainly won't be the last time that you see Nick Dacos scoring from a stoppage clearance here. On his toes, always moving, beats the sweeper Nick Newman. So Carlton was set up pretty well there, and Nick Dacos still finds a way to score. Here, I think we got Billy Frampton just overcommitting and leaving Harry Mackay out the back. I think we'll get a reverse angle replay here where I'm not too sure what Billy's doing here. He's going here to protect this space. That's still quite a shallow kick from here to here. I don't think Darcy's having any, Billy's having any impact there. I'd rather he just stay man tight with Mackay there. He actually gets caught up in no man's land here. So by the time the ball's kicked, he is absolutely nowhere. He's not close enough here, he's not close enough here, and he's not close enough here. So Mackay gets an easy goal there. He kicked a couple easy ones out the back. A fumble mistake by Cameron early in the game from a marking contest. But in saying that, Frampton actually played quite well, all things considering. I think he did more than balance the sheet between matchups that he had throughout the game with Curnow Mackay, and we'll see that as the game further unfolds. Watching him live, I thought he struggled, but yeah, just watching the game back in retrospect, I actually think he did quite well. I feel like I'm sounding like a bit of a broken record here when I talk about Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe going up for the same ball. It happens here. I don't think we concede from this one. It's a minor score, but there is a moment later in the game where they do the same thing and Carlton do score from it, from that direct, I guess, decision for two key backmen to go up for the same ball, where we need one to stay down in some situations. A minute and a half later though, Darcy Moore realises or recognises that Jeremy has in prime position to get a good attack on the ball in the air here. So Darcy, instead of trying to win that ball himself, he puts good body work. I think that's either Mackay or Curnow there, Mackay or De Koning, and just holds that space, that jumping space as much as he could for Howe, and then stays down, and then Jeremy Howe, I guess, equalises that contest in the air where De Koning was probably favourite to win. If you want to know why Scott Pendlebury is still integral to this team in 2024, look no further than this play here. Bobby dances amongst 1, 2, 3, 4 Carlton players. Pendlebury spots Harvey Harrison 5 metres ahead of or out of sight with his right hand being his opposite hand for the hand pass, perfectly into his running space, and gets that easy goal in the goal square. Like that's Pendlebury's vision to a T. That's what we know him for. That's what he's best known doing in his career, and he still is able to provide that, and did a lockdown job on Cripps for the night. I think Cripps only finished with 22 disposals for the game, and we know Pendles had an impact later in the fourth quarter, which we'll talk about as well. After the centre bounce from that goal, Pendles applying pressure on Cripps, chasing him down. Like, I don't think we're going to see many chase down tackles from Pendlebury in his career, in his dwindling career, but there's one to savour for the archive. A minute later, we've got a massive double effort by Jamie Elliott here. Stands tall here, keeps his feet, which is really important. He goes up for an aerial contest, he keeps his feet, Boyd doesn't, and then he's on to the next task, and that's to apply pressure here. Gets a little soccer here, clean, gets enough of a hand pass there. Harvey Harrison feeds to Sullivan, and Sullivan kicks his first goal of his career. What a way to welcome him to the AFL. This is just, I guess, wanting it more. Hoskin Elliott starts from behind and just approaches and attacks the ball harder than Zach Williams there. And I think we get another goal here with Lipinski finishing with the check side kick. We have a massive moment late in the second quarter. Frampton v Curnow. Curnow tries to don't argue. Frampton gets caught holding the ball. So another little moment for Frampton that he can take away with a great deal of confidence in this game. Carlton really struggled to play out from their defensive half. A lot of these kicks were seen, particularly in that second half, just long dump kicks, hoping that Curnow and Mackay can clunk it out of the air. Instead, it looked like this most of the time. An intercept mark, either it was Darcy Moore, Billy Frampton, spoils, and it came back with interest. Another situation where the Blues are just completely stagnant. There's no one here looking to offer up short. Nothing here, nothing doing here. It's really just submissive from Carlton. It was so predictable. They were so predictable all game long to do this kick, to do this kick, to do this kick. It's not going to get Carlton anywhere once it comes to the final series. It's so predictable. People are going to put bodies and bodies ahead of Curnow and Mackay if they look to do this in games later in the year. And it only took Collingwood a half to figure it out in a regular home and away season. So imagine how much difficult the task will be for them in the final series in 2024. We can see it ends up just going long. No one's moving, standing still, hoping that this just goes long, and nothing happens. Unfortunately, shortly after that play, Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe once again go up for the same ball. Jeremy Howe doesn't have an impact and always scores. You can see in this replay, Jeremy Howe does good body work and gets that separation to give him a chance to attack this ball in the air. However, he doesn't do anything in that aerial contest. It comes down, and in a moment where Collingwood were dominating that third quarter, it hurts to concede. I think we had 77% in time in forward half at that moment in the game at 7 minutes and 51 seconds, and it changes the momentum in that quarter in particular. I really loved this aggressive moment from Frampton on Mackay. You could argue there was a free kick there, but he does enough in that contest and yeets it out of his defensive 50. Unfortunately for Billy Frampton, he does panic in this isolated situation with Mackay. He ends up winning the aerial contest as Billy Frampton turns his back. Obviously, against some of the premier key forwards, you're probably not going to win those situations in most cases than others, but it was good to see that Billy Frampton was able to have impacts in many other one-on-one contests throughout the second half. The other disappointing moment in the third quarter was this one where Josh Dacos takes his eyes off the ball. Collingwood had a really good opportunity to rebound the ball from our defensive half, but this actually ends up going back the other way, and Carlton actually kick a goal. I think Curnow or Mackay runs off Frampton and takes a strong contested mark in the heap of it. As a Collingwood fan, I take real solace and peace of mind knowing that when it comes to a high stoppage game in a finals-like intensity, we have players like none other than Nick Dacos doing this, faking on the boundary, coming inside, handball to Pendles, finds Bobby Hill, and then even Bobby Hill has the temperance to find a quality kick going inside 50, where Hoskin Elliott has identified that this space is completely open to lead into if the kick permits, and certainly with Bobby Hill going inside 50, he's capable of doing that. And Hoskin Elliott also being smart, leading away from the loose in Carlton's defence. Rolling into the fourth quarter, we're going to see some great composure from Lucky Sullivan in the middle, who had a great game within his own rights. Here, he takes the ball, wins the hard ball, and right here, he can easily blast this out wide if he wants to and just hope for the best. But he has the composure to identify that Pendles is swinging around and feeds Pendles to give Collingwood another inside 50. Noble obviously goes inside 50 here. And it may have led to a potential shot on goal from Bobby Hill, which results in 6 points and gets the ball rolling for Collingwood in the fourth quarter. John Noble's defensive acts, he's making me eat my words after last week's video, but he does really well here, sticks the tackle and forces insufficient intent on Sam Walsh. I'm not too sure what Darcy Moore, I do know what he was doing here. We can see, if I get the right frame, Darcy Moore's overcommitted, trying to help out Jeremy Howe on Curnow, I believe, but in doing so, he leaves Sam De Koning completely out in the back. And we'll watch the replay, but De Koning has this whole space behind him to lead into. I think there's too much space there for Darcy Moore to leave him completely unguarded. So here we go. We'll get the reverse angle replay here. So look how much space there is for De Koning here to lead into at the back. I think Darcy Moore just needs to stick to his man in this specific moment, but he doesn't do that. He continues to stick with Curnow and allows De Koning to get that easy goal at the back. We'll say Darcy Moore was very impressive. He had game highs in spoils and was taking intercept marks like Darcy Moore from 2023. So it was really good to see Darcy Moore pick up where he left in 2023. As a youngster coming into the game, Harvey Harrison fumbles there and then cleans up very quickly as that winger, that defensive winger, setting up behind the stoppage in our D50 late in the game, 12 minutes left. It's a close game, massive game for the Collingwood Football Club. It was really nice to see him stand up, feed it out to Steele side bottom, and Collingwood are able to have an opportunity to get it out of their D50. Pendles starting to develop a knack for these type of goals. Obviously in the grand final, kicked a clutch goal. Here he finds himself 40 metres out. Wasn't sure if he would have had the legs. He ends up kicking the goal. But what I do want to highlight from a Carlton perspective, I think Blake Acres needs to go with Scott Pendlebury here. I understand he's playing the zone to cover this space here that either like Bobby Hill or Mychek may lead into, but I think if Acres isn't going with Pendlebury, he needs to somehow call along this player to tighten up to have side bottom second guess this kick. So I'll just get rid of all these and I'll pause it one more time. So here, I think, yeah, zones are great, but there comes a moment in time where one of these players just needs to sort of squeeze in a little bit more to make Steele side bottom second guess this kick here. And by the time the kick comes in, if I pause it here, no one's near Pendlebury here. No one's near. It's too late. And Pendles takes the mark and kicks a crucial goal for Collingwood. Another massive win for Frampton here. Darcy Moore nullifies that. Really good body work. Billy Frampton takes front body position early, not by using strength, but just reading the ball in the air quicker than Curnow does. Brings it to ground, nearly takes that intercept mark with one hand, shakes off the tackle, and then lowers the eyes and finds a target inside and gives Collingwood another opportunity to go inside 50. So another massive win for Frampton. I really want to highlight that and show you guys, yes, Billy Frampton lost some contests and probably could have done better in some contests against Mackay and Curnow, but there are a lot of moments like that we probably won't remember when we look back at this game. This play here really was one of the only moments that Carlton tried to take the game on in their second half, and it would have been super frustrating as a Carlton fan to watch, but when they do try to take it on, they invite our small forwards to apply pressure. Lachie Schultz is fiending on this, great tackle, somehow a free kick against but I can understand where the frustration comes from Carlton fans on this night. They didn't try to take the game on enough, and when they did, this is what happened. Now let's just relish in this moment and watch Nick Daicos do what he does best. I'm just going to leave this here for a moment. There he is. Guys, if you haven't seen a Nick Daicos documentary that I posted the other day, give it a watch and let me know what you think. I put a lot of time into it, and I think people are receiving it very well at the moment. So if you haven't had a sus, go have a watch now. It's perfect timing after a game that Nick Daicos puts on against our arch rivals in Carlton. But this moment specifically, I think Carlton were set up pretty well again. Chera sort of setting up as that defensive quarterback. He finds an opportunity to try win the ball. He goes in and that doesn't work out for him. Nick Daicos gets out the back then. He's running, I guess, free in towards goals and snaps it and hits the target like he usually does. So it's funny how footy goes sometimes. You make a decision, Chera, to try have an impact in the contest when your role is to be that, I guess, passive sort of defensive wingman in that stoppage setup. Doesn't work out for him. Nick Daicos runs into the space where Chera was previously occupying and kicks that goal. What many of you probably won't remember, and we should probably highlight, is this moment from Nick Daicos to gamble and play off Walsh here and impact this contest with Cripps. Puts somebody on him, puts his head over the ball and earns a free kick. There's 30 seconds left. The game's over now. The game is over. And I guarantee you many other players wouldn't have elected to play off Walsh there, because if you don't win this ball here, then Cripps feeds it out to Walsh. Walsh gets some run, gets an easy entry going inside 50. It doesn't happen because Nick Daicos is willing to bet on himself and his ability to win that hard ball. And for those who don't think Nick Daicos can win a harder ball, and for those that don't think Nick Daicos can win a hard ball, there it is. As I mentioned, Collingwood won the game in the clutches of the stoppages. We scored 44 points from stoppages compared to Carlton's 22. The other stat that sort of really comes off the page is Collingwood's tackles, 88 to 54, showing that we just love pressure. We love applying pressure and we love building our game off that. Nick Daicos was outstanding. Jack Crisp, Pendles, they all led from the front and in the middle, in the absence of Tom Mitchell and Jordan De Goey. So that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.